Hello, Lisa Neller here. I want to talk about divorce today. And this has been on my mind for a while, and I've been really trying to figure out how I want to express my thoughts about it without offending anyone. Because it can be a touchy subject, and basically, what divorce says to me, I equate it with pain. I equate it with pain. I have been lucky in my marriage. I've been married for 38 years. And I say lucky, and I did, we both developed some skills throughout our marriage. And we dated for 8 years. And so we kind of knew what we were getting into, personality wise, and the fact that, there were the three things that I always say make a good foundation for a happy marriage. And the first one is chemistry. The second is shared values. And the third is intellectual, compatibility. And I think that when my husband and I got married, both of us were afraid of divorce. Neither one of us ever wanted to go through it because we knew how painful it could be, and all of the consequences of going through a divorce, from tearing the family apart and the children going back and forth, and financial difficulties and single parenting and all the things. And all that's been in my family. I'm the only one in my family, really, that hasn't been divorced. I've got 5 siblings, and I have, my parents were divorced. Everybody. So I'm not naive when it comes to what divorce can lead to. Bitterness, all kinds of things. So I think that one of the reasons we've stayed together is because we've wanted to avoid that pain. And so, if I meet somebody for the first time and I find out they're divorced, I don't think anything of it really, other than, oh, that had to have been painful. And if I were to meet someone who said, yeah, I'm going through a divorce, then immediately my heart goes out to them, because it's like, oh, that's painful. That is not a fun thing to go through. And it's very rare when it's a smooth transition, right? So the reason I bring it up and the reason I'm talking about it is because in some fashion, I feel like I can help with either preventing divorce or transitioning through a divorce or post-divorce. A lot of women in particular have a lot of self-doubt and fear after divorce. And as a coach, I feel like I can help in those areas. So one of the things that I've always said to myself, first of all, I think that intention, like when you go into a marriage and you have intention of having that marriage last, that could help extend the marriage. And then doing a lot of self-study and self-development, or just growing together, can prevent couples from getting divorced. But once there's strife in the marriage, once we're not getting along so great or whatever, the divorce thought comes into the mind. And what I want to offer is that the thought, maybe we should get a divorce, first of all, as a thought, it could be a powerful thought. And it is just a thought. So we could discard the thought and choose a different thought, like, I really want this marriage to work, and here's what I'm going to do about it. What we know for sure is that you cannot change another person. You can only work on yourself. And sometimes it's absolutely necessary to get a divorce. I mean, especially, I mean, for if the best reason to get a divorce is if you and your children would be better off physically and mentally healthy without the spouse. Like if that is the true case, for sure, you need to get divorced, right? But there's lots of space in between the thought of maybe we should get a divorce and the actual divorce itself. So there's opportunity there to really look at who am I being in this relationship? What can I do to make it better? What can I do to make me better? To make me a better spouse? And honestly, we do need a partner who's willing to play with us. I always say it only takes one person to improve a marriage or to change a relationship. The reason I say that is because if one person in the relationship does something to significantly improve the relationship, whatever's in their control, and their partner responds well to that, that's a great thing. Sometimes the partner doesn't respond well or won't, or maybe it's just really not a good fit. But I think that in order for it to work, the partner has to be responsive in some way, in a positive way. Like, oh, I see this change in you. I'm going to be nicer too, kind of a thing. Now, it's very complicated. And I just want to admit that right now, that relationships are complicated and marriage is hard. I mean, if you think about it, that's a really long time to be married. Now, my oldest and dearest friend, Eileen, her parents, I've known her since I was a baby. We grew up on we started our life together on the same street. And her parents are still married. And they're in their 90s, and it's been 73 years of marriage. That is extraordinary. And what we know about them is that they're still madly in love. There's a bond there. And it doesn't mean it's always been easy, but I remember her telling me when I got married, you got to put in a lot of effort if you want to make this thing work out. 150%, she said. So I knew going in that I had to have a lot of patience. And I didn't have it at first. I mean, we struggle in the beginning, right? But especially in those days, you didn't live together before you got married. So when we moved in together, we were learning more about each other, even after 8 years. And it wasn't easy. Where was I going with that? So I think that there's a lot we can do to prevent from going to the thought of it, maybe we should get a divorce, to actually getting the divorce. There's a lot that can be done. And that's where I can come in and maybe help assess. Now, I'm not a therapist, so what happens is a lot of people come into a relationship or a marriage and they each have their separate trauma that they've gone through in life. And that trauma, that needs to be processed. That needs to be worked through with a professional counselor who specializes in those methodologies to help couples work through the difficulties that they're having because they're so different and because they bring a lot of trauma to the table. And so where I'm more gifted is in helping people choose how they're going to be and how they're going to act within their relationship, and ideas for improving relationships and making them better. And there was something else I wanted to say about, I have heard couples, I've heard people, women, say things like, I just told him that maybe we should get a divorce, And what I want to do is caution anyone who's listening to this who's thinking about it or who's thought about it or whatever, is like, don't throw that out. That's not a healthy thing to do. Is to, well, maybe we should just get a divorce and do that regularly, because words are powerful. Thoughts are powerful. So if we start to focus on, the negative and the maybe we should, and that's like, I would say, don't even say that ever, unless you are to the point where you need to get a divorce. So it's just noticing how powerful that is. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But I'm just saying that throwing that out there in the middle of an argument or something like that is not helpful. Anyway, if you are contemplating a divorce, if you've recently been through a divorce, if you want to talk about what would that look like to get divorced, because I'm not anti-divorce, obviously, I am here to talk to you about that. So DM me and reach out and say, you know what? I'd love to have a conversation with you to see if you can help me. And I would be happy to do that. So reach out, and thanks for watching, and have a great day.